So have you ever heard of a man who went from trapping birds in physical nets to trapping the mind itself? It's an incredible story about achieving one of the highest states of spiritual freedom. Today, we're diving into the legend of the cuckoo sage, Mahasiddha Kokilappa.
KU-HOO, the call of void. Catch the mind bird, attain the joy. These are the sage's own words. And, it's like a spiritual riddle, isn't it? It sits right at the heart of everything he taught. So what on earth is a mind bird? And how in the world do you catch something so slippery? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack. That's the real question here. It is a massive transformation. How does someone go from a pretty humble everyday life to becoming a legendary enlightened master? His journey is just filled with these profound lessons. And it all kicks off with the simple life of a man named Kokila. So first up, a trapper trapped by life. You see, to really get the enlightened sage, we first have to understand the man he was before all of that. A man whose whole job was about capturing freedom, but who felt like he was in a cage himself. Okay, so let's meet Kokila. Picture this. We're in 9th century Bengal during the Pala Empire. He was an expert bird catcher, seriously good at his job. But he was from the Shudra community, which meant he was considered an outcast, placing him on the absolute lowest rung of the social ladder. And even though he was skilled, the legends say he was just plagued by this deep, unspoken unhappiness. You know that feeling that something really important is just missing from your life? And you can really see this powerful contrast playing out in his life. He'd spend his days watching the birds, right? Seeing their freedom, the open sky, their effortless songs. But his own world? It felt just like the nets he used. It was all about greed, the need to survive, the chains of his daily routine. He was a master trapper who was himself spiritually trapped. The irony is just palpable. Which brings us to part 2, the path of the bird. This internal struggle, this feeling of being trapped, it really set the stage for a chance meeting that would completely change the course of his life, sending him down a totally unexpected path. And this is where the great guru Mahasiddha Luipa steps into the picture. A Mahasiddha, by the way, is a great perfected master, the real deal. At first, Kokila just kind of scoffs at him, mockingly asks for a secret trick to catch more birds. But Luipa, he just flips it right back on him, saying the real prison isn't a physical cage, it's the mind. Whoa. This hits Kokila so hard he has a dream where he is a trapped bird, and Luipa sets him free. And that was it. That was the turning point. He gave up his old life right then and there to become Luipa's student. But here's the thing. Enlightenment doesn't happen overnight. His newfound path led him on an intense 12-year spiritual journey of rigorous practice, a journey known as a sadhana. We're talking 12 years of hard, dedicated work. And what's so fascinating is how he repurposed the tools of his old life. He used what he knew. So he developed a bird net mantra, visualizing a net of light to capture negative thoughts. He practiced avian samadhi. Samadhi is a state of super deep concentration by imitating bird postures. He even used the cuckoo's call as a kind of meditation to find that enlightenment within. How cool is that? He turned his trap into his path. And all along this tough journey, his guru Luipa would just show up and test him with these deep, challenging questions. Can you catch the uncatchable? The Atman. He's basically asking, can you grasp the true eternal self, that divine spark inside everything? These weren't just riddles. They were designed to push him deeper and deeper into the true nature of reality. All right, so section 3, the mind takes flight. After those 12 long years of unbelievable discipline, the transformation was finally complete. The bird catcher was now ready to let his own mind soar.
He achieved what's known in the tradition as Mahasiddhi, which basically means great perfection or supreme spiritual attainment. He had become a fully realized master. He wasn't just Kokila anymore. He was now Kokilappa, the cuckoo adept. And the stories about him after this are just wild. The legends say the very birds he once trapped were now set free and would actually follow him around willingly. His song, which used to be a trick to lure birds, now had the power to heal sick people. He completely transcended his old life, physically and socially, and he taught his wisdom to absolutely everyone, no matter who they were. And his ending? It's just as mystical as his life. Instead of leaving a body behind, the story goes that he transformed into a flock of golden cuckoos and just flew up into the sky. A perfectly poetic end for the cuckoo sage, right?
So that brings us to the final part, the cuckoo's call today. Okay, it's a fantastic story from the 9th century for sure, but why does it matter to us now? What is the cuckoo's call for us here in our modern world?
Well, at the very heart of Kokilappa's teaching is this idea of Sahaja Yoga. And what it means is finding that spiritual connection naturally, effortlessly, right in the middle of your everyday life. The message is huge. You don't have to run away to a monastery or renounce the world to find enlightenment. You can find it right where you are. So his life really offers us these timeless lessons. The big one is moving from trap to transcendence. You can take your daily work, your modern trap, and turn it into your spiritual practice. We can also learn to see nature as a profound teacher, just like he did. And maybe most importantly, we can learn to embrace non-duality, to move beyond those rigid ideas of good and bad, pure and impure. And if you're thinking, okay, this sounds pretty cool, how could I try something like this? Well, here is a simple practice drawn right from the tradition and inspired by his path. It involves finding a quiet spot outside, using a special mantra to visualize capturing those negative thoughts in a net of light, and then performing a symbolic act of release for your own soul's freedom. Because in the end, the story of the cuckoo sage isn't really just about him. It's a mirror. It's a story that asks each of us to look inside and ask ourselves, what's that fluttering, captive thing in our own mind that's just yearning for the open sky? So I'll leave you with this. What mind bird do you need to set free?